Okay, so we're back out on Cayuga Lake. It is April 7th, so we're pretty early in the season. We actually have a beautiful day. It's about 48 degrees right now. I came out yesterday and fished for a while. And while I was fishing, I tried shallow water first and was seeing next to nothing. And so I decided to try some deeper water. And I had spent an hour and a half in the shallow water and came out to the deeper water, which was sort of on my way home, only to discover that that's where the fish were. I started seeing fish around 100 feet or so, ended up actually seeing fish in 105-foot range out to 100 I was out at 125, 126, 130 feet, somewhere in there was probably the deepest I got. And I was seeing fish all through that range. So didn't bring my cameras with me yesterday, but decided that today would be the day that I should bring cameras with me. So I'm set up with 3 cameras. I've got my glasses cam, which works pretty good. It also records pretty decent audio. I've got a camera in the back and one in the front, each rigged up with a receiver, and I'm wearing a microphone transmitter. So with any kind of luck, we'll end up with some decent audio out of the whole situation as well. What I have done is I've set up a downrigger, and I've only got one rod out. When I'm trying to film and fish and whatever, it works a whole lot better if I don't get too carried away with rods. So I only put one rod out on the downrigger, and I've got that down around 105 feet. And we're in 117 right now. I'm going to let it out a little bit more here in a second, because I think I need to be just a hair deeper. The fish that I'm seeing, the signs of the fish, and I am seeing fish on my screen. The fish that I'm seeing on the screen appear to be in the 115-foot, 117-foot range. I think the shallowest that I saw one was around 112 feet. So I think I should try to go down another 5 or 6 feet, get me a little bit closer to the bottom. I'm not fishing any attractors in front of the lure. I've just got a moose look wobbler, which happens to be sort of my favorite lure. If you've watched my videos before, you'll know that that tends to be one that I use a lot. So I got a moose look wobbler on in the rainbow smelt color, and they come in 3 sizes. I thought there were only 2. This is the largest of the 3 sizes. And I can't tell you right off the top of my head what the length is, but it's the largest of the bunch. Right now, running at about 0.9 miles an hour. I think I want to speed it up a little bit. It's a little on the slow side. I'd be happier if it were not quite so slow. And what I'm doing, just so you know, is I'm not running the boat motor itself. I'm running the trolling motor. I've got a 40-pound thrust trolling motor on the front of this Tracker Pro V16. I've got 2 batteries up there, so I've got quite a bit of runtime on it. And I'm going to pick up a little speed here and go a little faster, see if that makes a little bit of difference, but still seeing fish down in the vicinity. So maybe I'll, at 105 feet, maybe I'll just leave it alone. We're in 120 feet, but I'm seeing, I marked several fish in the 102-foot range, so they're, not that far off of where the baits are. They're up off the bottom a little bit. So we'll see what happens. You'll also note today that I have no company in the boat with me. Unfortunately, if you're paying attention to the date, this is April 7th of 2020, and Cayuga Lake is in the Finger Lake section of New York, and New York, along with about 40-something other states, is under pretty much lockdown due to the coronavirus. And so the only one that's been near me in the past 3 weeks is my wife. And she doesn't like to fish that much, so she wasn't interested in coming out. And I kind of decided maybe it would be smarter to just not invite somebody. It's a little hard to get 6 feet away from somebody else in the boat at the same time. Could do it, but I decided that the fishing was uncertain enough, and I'm not sure they'd want to come out anyway. Okay, that looks awfully suspicious. That acts like a fish, even though it didn't set the trigger. Oop, and it did then. And we do have a fish, so I'm going to back up here a little bit. I'm going to keep the trolling motor running. I don't want to bring them up too fast if it's a fish that's too small. I want to let him go, and from that depth it's pretty hard to bring them up without hurting them. And it's a Laker. And he is big enough to keep. And since I haven't had any fresh fish, I think maybe he'll go in the... I don't know whether that's a fish or not, but yeah, I'll be darned, it is a fish. It's actually a pretty good fish, I would think. Still a nice fish. He's a pretty good fish. And he didn't inhale the hook. So the hook's out. So hold him up so you can get a look at him. That's a fairly decent Laker. Here we go again. This one feels like a much smaller fish. Yep, he's a Laker. Actually, a fairly good sized one too. Now, if I could get him to get off before we get him in. I don't see that happening though, but he doesn't look like he's hooked badly. So okay, so he got unhooked pretty easy too. Okay, there's another one. That was a fairly decent fish too. So I guess we'll call it quits for the day and leave some for another day. Thanks for joining me.